The Book of the Damned, by Charles Hoyfort, Chapter 13 Monthly Weather Review, July 1894. That, from the Weather Bureau of Portland, Oregon, a tornado of June 3, 1894, was reported. Fragments of ice fell from the sky. They averaged 3 to 4 inches square, and about an inch thick. In length and breadth they had the smooth surfaces required by our acceptance, and, according to the writer in the review, gave the impression of a vast field of ice suspended in the atmosphere and suddenly broken into fragments about the size of the palm of the hand. This datum, profoundly of what we used to call the damned, or before we could no longer accept judgment, or cut and dried condemnation by infants, turtles, and lambs, was copied, but without comment, in the Scientific American, Volume 71, page 371. Our theology is something like this. Of course we ought to be damned, but we revolt against adjudication by infants, turtles, and lambs. We now come to some remarkable data in a rather difficult department of supergeography. Vast fields of aerial ice. There's a lesson to me in the treachery of the imaginable. Most of our opposition is in the clearness with which the conventional, but impossible, becomes the imaginable, and then the resistant to modifications. After it had become the conventional with me, I conceived clearly of vast sheets of ice, a few miles above this earth, then the shining of the sun, and the ice partly melting, that note upon the ice that fell at Derby, water trickling and forming icicles upon the lower surface of the ice sheet. I seemed to look up and so clearly visualized those icicles hanging like stalactites from a flat-roofed cave in white calcite. Or I looked up at the underside of an aerial ice lump, and seemed to see a papillation similar to that observed by a calf at times. But then, if icicles should form upon the underside of the sheet of aerial ice, that would be by the falling of water toward this earth. An icicle is of course an expression of gravitation, and if water melting from ice should fall toward this earth, why not the ice itself fall before an icicle could have time to form? Of course, in quasi-existence, where everything is a paradox, one might argue that the water falls, but the ice does not, because ice is heavier, that is, in masses. That notion, I think, belongs in a more advanced course than we are taking at the present.